Hi, this is Mrs. Stiliano, and today I'm introducing the artist Hunderwasser. Hunderwasser was an architect, and he made his houses in these very interesting styles, like as you see here. Okay, so we're going to be drawing in his style today, and if you go over to the right, you'll see what the project will look like. There we go. So we're going to be revisiting some of our skills in colored pencil techniques, such as doing a fade. Okay, it's going to be a really fun time. So come on over to me and I'll get us started. So the first step to this project is laying out your city. It doesn't have to look exactly like Hundertwasser's does. So first thing is just kind of thinking about the shape, the outer shapes of your city. So, like I said, it could be your own design. It doesn't have to look just like the one in the picture here. I think having about 4 or 5 buildings is the right amount. And you can think about what shapes you're going to be doing. Hundertwasser did not use a ruler when he was coming up with any of these buildings. Okay, he really would just kind of free draw them, which is what we're up to right now. So don't worry about being exact. So you can start with the outline of what your city will look like. Okay, for the next step, let's think about window placements. So if you look over here at Hundertwasser's picture that we were focused on, you'll see that his windows are kind of all over the place. They're just in all different places. So at this time we're going to spend a minute and we're going to make up what some of our windows look like. So you can think about how many you want to add to. I think a project like this is ideal for adding lots of fun little details. So I'm just adding a bunch of different types of windows. His windows are also kind of rounded, if you look. Again, none of them, he definitely didn't use a ruler to come up with any of this. So he was definitely free drawing. And the shapes that you choose for windows are really up to you. So just have fun with it. Let's put one up here. And this rounded building, I feel like it needs more rounded windows, don't you? Or more curvy windows, I should say. So it's going to get a little curvy with these ones. Okay. Let's do our last one together. Okay, so back to our picture that we're focused on for today, our Hundertwasser city. When we look at the top of his buildings, they each have different patterns and designs and things happening. This one's got a lot of really rounded looking patterns. This one has a more architectural looking roof. Okay, this one's got a little bit of a design in there. So I'm going to show you how to do some of these things if you come right over to my picture. So first thing I'm going to do is add some shapes to this one. So the more details you have, the more areas there will be to color inside of, and the more interesting your picture will be. So I challenge you to think of lots of areas where you could put different patterns and designs. Okay. Let's also look over here. If you come back to the picture, you're going to notice he's got this kind of spiral design happening. You definitely don't have to do the exact things that he's done. I'm just showing you how to do some of the things he's done so that you can incorporate them. So you can put these different patterns and designs wherever you feel in your city, wherever it works for you. So if you want to come back to my picture, I'm going to show you how to make that spiral. So I'm going and I'm making the spiral, but I stop at the window, right? And then I pick up. And I stop again, and I pick up. I stop, and then I pick up. How do you know where to pick up? What you could do is just kind of put this exactly where your pencil would be. So that's a good way to do it. So now you can make the inner spiral just like I'm showing you. Same thing, you're going to stop at your windows. So you're not going through them, you stop when you get to them. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with how it looks. I'm going to come right over here and I'm going to add some design to the top of this building. So it's always important in art to just take your time. Don't be in a rush. Okay, let's see, is there anything else that I want to do? Could add some roof shapes to some of these. Okay, I feel like this one could also use maybe a double layer, just like what I'm doing here. This one reminds me almost of like whipped cream or something. They all kind of remind me a little bit of food. So I'll show you how to do our funky sun, just like the one you see over here in the hunderwasser picture, and like you also see in my finished example if you pull over. So we're going to be focusing on how to make a sun like this. It looks very tricky, but it's much easier than you actually probably think it is. So if you want to come back on over to me, here we are. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to decide where your sun is. Do you want your sun in the middle of your picture? Do you want it over in the corner? Wherever you want to put it, that's up to you. Okay, I'm going to actually put mine over here today. In my other picture, I put it more in the center. Okay, so I start with my circle. Next thing is I'm going to make my next circle. I keep making my circles around, and I'm actually going to go straight through the building when I get to the building, just like I did there. Okay, so in this part, I'm not stopping like I did before. I'm just going to continue going. And this is going to be a lot of fun for us when we get up to coloring in a little while. So now I'm up here, so I'm not going to have enough space to make the whole circle, so I do what I can. Okay, and I think I'm ready. I think that's a good sun, so now I can move on. So the next thing I'm going to do is I could make my fence, which is in the back of my picture, just like this. So I stopped between the buildings, right? I didn't go through the buildings. This fence is behind them. And now the next thing is I can go ahead and draw out what the fence will look like. So here it is. It just picks up. It's behind each building. Okay, and now I can make this part for the fence behind. I'm calling this a fence. I'm not sure if it's actually a fence. It's whatever it is. Oh, and I just realized I forgot to put the fence in this part. Whoops. So now this is starting to look tricky, but I promise it won't be that bad. Okay, the fence is everywhere in the background. Now we're ready for step 2. Step 2, of course, is inking with our Sharpie marker. I might give you guys fatter markers to do this with. I'm not so sure. I want to see how it comes out with a nice thin marker. In my last project I did it with the fatter marker, so I'll decide and I'll let you know what we pick. I just want to make sure this isn't bleeding through. Ooh, and it is, so it could be getting onto my table. I don't want that to happen. You guys don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and just trace my shapes. Go nice and slow when you trace the shapes. Could take a while to do this. In art, it's much better to be an oven than to be a microwave. A microwave cooks food very fast, but your food does not always come out the best in a microwave. An oven takes much longer to cook things, but food that comes out of an oven usually comes out much more delicious than it would if it were made in a microwave. So you always want to be an oven, not a microwave. Just going to continue tracing all of my shapes here. We've got a snowy cat today who's trying to invade our picture. He just wants to be part of it all. So don't mind him if you see him pop up. It's no big deal. So I'm just super carefully tracing each of my areas. You never realize how much detail you've actually put in a picture until you try tracing everything you've done. And you say, aha, I actually did have a lot of detail in that picture. Which is a really good thing. Okay, we're about halfway done with this step. You're going to be working a lot slower than I am. I'm trying to work fast so that I can move you guys on to the next thing. But please, please take your time in this step. Don't worry about little mistakes that you might make. They're never a big deal. Okay, I always say there's no mistakes in art, there's only happy accidents. I learned that from Bob Ross, who I would watch when I would come home from school when I was a kid. Bob Ross was a painter who painted on TV, and I always found him really relaxing to watch. You would actually paint a picture with him. He would show you how to paint different landscapes, and I used to watch it all the time. And one of my favorite things that he would say is that there's no mistakes in art, there's only happy accidents. So any perceived mistake that you might have made was really meant to happen, because your art actually has a mind of its own after a while. Just so neat. almost done. Another 30 seconds or so. Just going to do the sun up here. Okay. So when you think you're done tracing everything, do me a favor, just show me what you've done. Let me check. Let me make sure you've really gotten every spot, because sometimes it's easy for another person to see if you've missed a spot. You actually might even be noticing spots that I missed. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, so always double check. And now we're up to the fun part. So here's the part where we remember how to do our fade that we learned in 4th grade. So the fade is simply where we get darker around the edges and then lighter in the center. I'm also going to show you how to mix in other colors, and then you have the freedom to color this in the way that you choose, using some of the things I show you, of course. So the fade, the way I always do the fade is that I go darker around the edges, right? So I start out dark around the edges, and then in the center I'm a lot lighter. You can do these any colors you want. I think, should I make them, maybe I'll make some of my windows the same colors. Why not? It's really up to you. I was just thinking about maybe making this window red, but I just decided that instead I'll make it blue, because I have that freedom. So you have the freedom to change your mind. So I sometimes will start by going around my edges first. I'll go nice and darker around my edges, and then I kind of ease up as I come to the center, just like this. Okay, and I think that around these I will make it this color, this kind of magenta color that we have here. So again, it's the same thing where you're darker around your edges and then lighter in the center. So this is what a fade is. So now I'll show you how to mix in a color with your fade. So let's say that now I'm fading this window over here. Again, I start out darker around my edges, right? And I get lighter in my center. Right? Sometimes you can go in the other direction and kind of make things look a little more even and nice, right? Like I just did there. So now in this one I'm going to play with just mixing in a little tiny bit of this green color. I'm going to go really, really light. You can always add more, but you can't take away. I say that when you're painting too. You can always add more, but you can't take away. So now I'm going to do the reverse. I'm going to start with green in this one, right? So maybe I'll make all these windows different colors on this building. Okay, and I'm going to get lighter in the center, and now I'm going to go ahead and just make sure it's even, right? Now I can reach for that other color I was using and mix in some of that. So I'm sure it's very interesting to see how using the exact same two colors, but just changing the order dramatically changes your results. So in this one I started with green, and I added in the purple, and it's very different from that window. Okay, so let's see what else we can play with here. Let's see if I can show you a few more color combinations that you might enjoy playing with. You can mix any colors you like together, by the way. So now I'm going to take the same two colors, and what I'm going to do is mix in different colors. So I've started with the same two colors. Alright, I'm doing my fade. I'm always fading because fading just comes out really, really nice. Okay, and now I'm going to mix in a little bit of purple in one. You're kind of fading in the color that you're adding to. And in the other one, I'm going to add in some of this pink color. And just notice how the results, again, are extremely different from each other. Now, you don't have to fade everything. You could choose to color some areas a solid color. So you might pick and choose a few areas in your picture to color a solid color. So you can think of each little area that you're coloring in as a different part of your picture. So this window frame over here, you might think that you need to do it all solid color, right? But actually, if you look at it, it's divided up by our sun that we made, right? So what we can do is color in the different parts, different colors, right? And that will make a very interesting kind of result. You can do them all different colors if that's what you'd like to do. And let's just look a little bit more at the sun. So over here, I think I'll do this color. This is still part of the building. I don't know if you noticed that. This is all the building here, right? Now I'm going to have most of the building, all this whole bottom part, I'm going to have that all be one color. But then when you get up here, because it's divided up by the sun, each of these little areas could be done a different color if that's what you want to do. So you're thinking about what areas you're going to be doing the fade with, and you're thinking also about which areas you're going to be doing solid colors. Okay? Playing with different color combinations. So we're getting there. I'm not going to show you this whole thing, but I am going to come back to our finished picture. And I want you to notice again how different areas I've done different ways. So if you look over here, you're going to see that this was all colored in solid, okay, and then I mixed in another color. I started to mix in this kind of purplish color, which was mixed in down here, okay. Over here, I picked a few areas to just do this curly thing with. You don't want to do the curly thing with your whole picture. I think it looks best when you just pick a few areas to do that with. So you can pick and choose just a few areas if you even want to use this effect. You may not want to, right? Over here, you can see I went darker on my edge and then I mixed in another color. So all these different things are completely up to you. The way that it comes out, the way that you color it in, that's up to you. My only request is that you take your time and really think about which colors you're using and where. Best of luck to you guys. Enjoy.